The Game Awards for 2023. Haven't had a chance to vote yet. You should be voting too. Vote for your nominees. Vote for your choices. Vote for what will change the face of social media and the gaming space. Who can say? But I only am able to vote up to 31. Um, let's see. Regretfully, this year I haven't actually played any like games that were released this year per se. I haven't actually really released uh, game of the year, a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. There was a lot of news with like Baldur's Gate. I am part and parcel with Spider-Man, but again, this is the first time the first time in years that I haven't played uh, a newly released game in 2023. I know I played and bought the Mega Man collection, but that's like a collection. Like I said, it's a collection of video games. But in terms of games from this year, we have Alan Wake 2. Hadn't played the first one yet. Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man. I played that. I played the first game. I played Resident Evil 4, but the original Resident Evil 4. I've never played Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, or Breath of the Wild. I have not played a Mario game in a long time. But of the three, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I am familiar with D&D mechanics, but this is not a game that I've played. I mean, I've played this before, so this is always a banger, but it's a remake. All these games are sequel game, or like, I mean, I guess I'll put my vote on. I will have faith in Super Mario Bros. Wonder because it's not a direct sequel compared to everything else. Everything else has been a direct sequel to a certain thing, but I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a pocket a pocket within D&D that what's the word that has been explored like in the same vein of Final Fantasy 15, 16, and 14, 7. Those are games that are in its own universe. So I think the Baldur's Gate is in with its own universe. But Mario is definitely a game that has no it it involved I don't think this is a direct sequel to any game in particular. Much like how Super Mario X Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are direct sequels to each other. There's no sequel to this is technically a sequel to a long line of games. So let's do that. I don't want to save my progress. What? Okay. You know what? Fine. Just give me a minute. Jeez. Okay. So, never mind. Okay. I don't know what was lost in translation. I have to start this all over again. Ah. Okay. This is the umpteenth time that I had to uh, restart recording. But if I missed anything in the last cut, game of the year I think is Mario Wonder. Uh, Best game direction is gonna be between Baldur's Gate, which is like it. I would probably say it definitely pushed the envelope to make D&D more more digestible for the general population. And Super Mario Wonder is again a situation where it's pushing the envelope in terms of creative vision and innovation. Where there's definitely different. No two Mario games have no three. Every Mario game for the past couple years have been pushing the envelope from Mario Maker to Mario Galaxy. There's been innovations as the games have been produced. So I will probably say that let's do Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game direction. Just because like it's been it's been a progression though. So like, um, it's progressive because of like there hasn't been a game before Baldur's Gate 3 that's been so widely received. So we're looking at best narrative, and we're looking at between Alan Wake 3, which Alan Wake 2 is a hard decision for me to consider just because it's only just been released recently, and already it's been pushed to the front amongst every other game, and it's a problem for me. Let's see. Outstanding storytelling, narrative, um, and narrative development. I will say that I've listened to the Spider-Man 2 um, movie in terms of cutscenes. I've listened to somebody play Spider-Man 2, and I will say that has more narrative drive because it's building upon a status quo. Final Fantasy 16, I haven't had a chance to listen to and or experience, but I will say Marvel Spider-Man 2 has good narrative. I would say Spider-Man 2. I have a soft spot for Spider. Oh shit. Okay, I'm still recording. Okay, cool. Spider-Man 2 I think has the best narrative function because this is like I from for non-spoiler reasons, this game sets up the third sequel very well to where it's a story about passing the torch, and I guess I'll spoil it. I'm going to spoil it because this is such a fun game. This game, if you don't want spoilers, this is where the video ends for you. Or you can skip a couple of seconds, maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute. But I think the progression, this Spider-Man 2 has set up, has done the best has done the best job at positioning Miles Morales as the mainline Spider-Man. And that's because throughout the journey, Peter meets Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn has the Venom symbiote, and for that storyline, there's a struggle between what Peter has to do and responsibilities and trying to figure out how to balance your life. And with Harry Osborn as someone who's coming into their life out of almost nowhere, he has to really figure out, can his life afford time spent on being Spider-Man and being Peter Parker? Whereas Miles Morales, he is in high school, he's going into college, he's in a position to where he's learning where does his life actually begin. And this game sets up the journey between Miles and Peter in determining the future of this Insomniac universe. And they do a really good job in developing the story between Peter Parker and Miles Morales. And this game has the best canonic ending or retirement for Peter Parker, in my opinion. Move forward. But yeah, for best narrative, I would say Spider-Man. Best art direction. And my voice is not very good because I'm coming under a cold, so my throat isn't the best. I don't know what that's going to be. But for outstanding creative and technological achievements in art design and animation, I will say, between everything, like, again, Legend of Zelda is building off of graphics and design from the previous game. So I'm going to kick that out. Alan Wake 2. Most sequels are the only contenders really are between Lies of P and Hi-Fi Rush, because they are the most non-recognizable but outstanding. And this game has been pushed for the past 4 categories. Alan Wake 2 has been pushed so much, and I don't like that. So I think between these two, let's see, between Hi-Fi Rush, I would probably say Lies of P. I would say Lies of P only because I've had the experience of playing the demo, but also the concept of a steampunk, dark, a steampunk adaptation of the Pinocchio story in the landscape of Bloodborne esque themes. The art design is pretty cool. From the town itself to the power plant and to the swamps, the art design has been pretty good. Best scores and music. That's gonna be a tough decision because I would probably say Legend of Zelda has always been so recognizable, and Final Fantasy recycles and rejuvenates their core playlists, to my knowledge, very well. If I am wrong, please let me know in the comments down below. But I will probably say, of everything that I've listened to, um, I would think Final Fantasy 16 has an up amongst the five, unless there's more than that. Best audio design. Okay. Did you see the problem so far? Alan Wake 2 does not deserve to be here because for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries, it's been nothing. Why does Alan Wake 2 get so much recognition for the past 5, 6 entries? And we're out of 31 so far. Um, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Well, I cannot say, but if from what I've listened to, I will say Spider-Man again. Spider-Man has the best audio design because you can hear the thwips and the electricity. You can hear breathing even, and the comedic slaps very well. That will give it a hot pass. Best performances. Award-winning award to the individual voice acting, motion, and or performance captured. Okay. Oh God, Yuri Lowenthal. Neil Newbon has been a really good Astarion. We've liked Idris Elba. Idris Elba is well known. Cameron Monaghan. Ben Starr. From my current knowledge, let's see. It's hard to it's hard to vote. It's hard to vote in this category because we've had Idris Elba around for the longest time. He is the most senior voice actor and voice talent. However, Yuri Lowenthal has been around just as long, especially with his younger days as Sasuke Uchiha. However, amongst these people, the newest I haven't played Star Wars yet. I want to play Star Wars. I have Fallen Order on PlayStation Plus, but I will give it a Starion. I will give best performances from Neil Newbon. His voice contribution as Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3 has been covering my feeds nonstop. From people who are very horny to people who feel for him very much. Innovation in accessibility. Okay, so finally, a game where it doesn't a situation where it doesn't include Alan Wake. Dear God. I'm very happy for this. But let's see. I would I just played Blizzard. I just played Diablo 4. Let's see. I've just tried out. I'm gonna try out Street Fighter 6 again in a proper like demo stream, but I'm sorry. I will probably say that amongst all these games, this is a recognizing software and or hardware that pushes the medium forward by adding features, technologies, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. I will say an honorable mention to this is Final Fantasy 16 because again there was a technical controversy of four rings that allow you to practically button mash your way through the game. And the argument is you have a choice to unequip and equip these rings. If you want to make it a challenging game and make it more skill based, just take off the rings. You have so many opportunities to learn the mechanics of the games by altering what rings you have access to and to use in these instances. You can definitely like cater your type of gameplay in Final Fantasy 16 depending on what you equip. And if you are ignorant of what to choose and like, hey, ignorant of the choice that you can turn these like mechanics off, that is your fault. However, that is not a nominee for today. I will say Final Fantasy 16 should be here for its ability to make it accessible for longtime Devil May Cry Bayonetta fans to your first time Final Fantasy players as well. I will say Street Fighter 6 has provided a I would say Street Fighter 6 has a chance in this because I've not played Mortal Kombat 1 yet. But this game has given you three types of controllers. Mono controls, which plays out with simple directional auto combos, plus um, Smash Bros concepts of like super. So you can do like a triangle for a basic move, up, down, left, right, super specials and stuff like that. Or you can do auto combos for all buttons. So even your 5-year-old niece can play Street Fighter 6 with you. And Diablo 4, it's a pretty decent game, and it's very. If you play World Tier 1, and I played the Necromancer in the free weekend that I played it, and it was relatively easy. The progression was pretty easy, and I will say that for the casual Andy who played games after the 9 to 5 and they don't want anything very problematic, this is a good game for them. So I will probably say Street Fighter 6. Let's give it a Street Fighter 6. Let's see what other categories do they have. Game impact. Okay, let's see. For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Okay, I've never seen any of these games before, but let's see. Goodbye Volcano High, Chant of Sonar. I've seen that. I think I have that on Epic Game Store. A Space for the Unbound. Tachia. This is definitely a game for children. Well, most of these games are for children, but Venba and Chia is very obvious from the art direction alone. But I will say I'll give it to Goodbye Volcano High because that's the title that I know more of. But yeah, if you want to look it up, then you can. Let's see, best ongoing awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolved the player's experience over time. And okay, of course. So I will. In terms of Okay, so there's Genshin Impact, Fortnite, Final Fantasy 14, uh, 2077, and Apex. Let's see. For Game Boy outstanding development, I mean, it's hard to really say. That evolves the player's experience over time. Ah, I would give it a Final Fantasy 14 just because amongst all these games, the only the only way that this game has evolved over time is it becoming a better proper game. Like lack of bugs to fluidity. The issue was fluidity and stuff like that because this game came out broken. Apex Legends is a hard thing to talk about because how do you it for develop ongoing content involves different heroes and different ways to shoot other players. This game has been adding Final Fantasy 14 has been adding content over content for a long period of time, of adding new classes to new stories. Every like expansion, there's new story content, and that's great. Fortnite does the same thing, but with battle royale, and the issue with its ongoing content that evolves the experience is that the ongoing background content of the story doesn't matter. The only thing that's changed that evolved the experience is like you want to play a game where you can build, yes or no, and that's pretty much it. And then when it comes to Genshin Impact, it's a gotcha game during the pandemic that got people excited with waifus and husbandos, and it plays a similar cadence to Breath of the Wild. So Final Fantasy 14 is my votes. Uh, best community support. Okay, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsivity, inclusive of social media and active games and patches. No Man's Sky, Destiny, Final Fantasy again, Cyberpunk, or Baldur's Gate. Um, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency. Huh. I mean, Destiny has been getting increasingly expensive, and for some people, it's been getting really routine. But because of how routine it is, it's been getting very. What's the word? What's the word? What is it? Hold on. It involves content where it like just it updates constantly of like uh maybe you get a better gun with like a few more numbers higher than the previous one. The grindy aspects is what turns it off for me. But in terms of community support, Baldur's Gate has gone very horny in the past couple years, in the past couple months since its release, and uh, if I remember correctly, a recent update regarding a cat was involved, and people like the fact that the developers got back to like, hey, let's go ahead and fix the cat you guys like so much, and I'm sorry we like patched the loved glitch. So that's one thing. That's one thing they have on their docket. However, responsive. I don't know how responsive Final Fantasy 14's community is, but the most I've heard was from Baldur's Gate 3. I will give it that. Let's see what's moving on. Best indie game, independent game. Best indie game. And their choices are Viewfinder, Dredge, Dave the Diver, and Cocoon. I've been hearing things about Dave the Diver recently. Recent streamers have been playing Dredge, and I'm a big fan of Sea of Stars because I'm still, contrary to belief, I'm still a fan of Gerard. In terms of his allegations regarding the charity and whatnot, he doesn't completely have responsibility, even if his face is on it. So it's like you're asking the manager who is it's like you're asking the employee to do everything in the kitchen sink. And if you have him spread out on everything, nothing gets done. So he is not responsible for the funds. He allegedly does not have responsibilities to the funds because allegedly he is responsible for everything else within the company. But we'll give time for Gerard to make a response. However, that's my opinion. But in terms of best indie game, I as much as I like Sea of Stars, I've seen more people play Dredge than Sea of Stars. But then that's also because Sea of Stars is for it. The niche is RPG fans, but a lot of Dredge players don't play uh, Dredge. They haven't because a lot of the YouTubers like Jacksepticeye and um, who was it? Mapsy, Martsy on Twitch. Some of these guys don't haven't played Sea of Stars because the cozy game is Dredge. There's a higher precedence to playing more cozy games with Dredge than Sea of Stars. But for me, Sea of Stars, fight me, bite me, I don't care. Best debut indie game. I didn't spell debut correctly, but for best debut game created by a new independent studio, yeah, definitely Dredge. Dredge is definitely something I've heard before. Heard more than everything else. Best mobile game. Sorry. I just love the fact that Final Fantasy. We all know. I've streamed it. Best mobile game. Definitely FF7. Ever Crisis for sure. I'm a little biased because funny enough, I'm playing it on the side while we're doing this video, but that's not the point of the stream. The point isn't to tell you guys, hey, I'm playing the best voted mobile game. But I will say in hindsight, Honkai Star Rail has its already own fan base of Genshin Impact and the Hoyoverse group. Monster Hunter now is Pokemon Go with Monster Hunter, and it's very GPS oriented. So depending on like where you're at, it matters. But I can't say that I know. I mean, the validity of its game is probably fine. It's better as a console game and PC game, in my opinion. But as a mobile game, it's hard to contend because yet it's a lot more active than you want it to be, and sometimes the hunts are in geological locations that you can't actually get to, in my opinion. I've never seen Hello Kitty. I've never seen Terra Nil, but it's fun to see in more than one category. Best best VR AR. It's kind of like no brainer. For best game experience, playable in virtual reality or augmented, you have Horizon Call of the Mountain, have not played. Gran Turismo, it's already known. Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village is the number one VR AR experience for obvious reasons. Best action game. For best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat, that's really tough because I will probably say amongst all these guys, I do think Armored Core 6 has the best action, in my opinion, just because not this is the least covered for in my recent news, least covered, and this is the same game as Remnant One. In terms of this is more of a this feels like Destiny a lot more than it does a Monster Hunter game, where or a Dark Souls game. It's the Dark Souls with guns, but it's really just Destiny. You can fight me later. Best action adventure. Let's see. For best action game, combining combat with puzzle solving and traversal. Spider Man. Spider Man. And that's strictly because in terms of traversal and puzzle solving, Spider-Man 2 is very active. You are Spider-Man. There's no better argument that it makes you feel more Spider-Man than you playing the game and say, "Wow, this game makes me feel like Spider-Man." Resident Evil 4 is something that we've already played before. It's a remake, so it's hard for this to be a conversation because Resident Evil 4 is a remake of an. They did not change anything other than just updating continuity and updating like graphics, in my opinion. And other than updating mechanics and updating continuity, it's not pushing the envelope in comparison to everything else. And Jedi Survivor, I'm not sure, but I do have Fallen Order. Um, let's see, best RPG for the best game design and rich player characters customization and progression. Starfield, I don't know, but I will probably give it to Lies of P, only because of how it's pushing the envelope. It is the first, well, maybe favoritism because it is the first entry for the developer, but for such a game to be out there as their first product, it is pushing boundaries, concepts in. This is like This is the Bloodborne that we've wanted in a way, but in the storytelling directive of a warped, um, eldritch intake of Pinocchio, in my opinion. Best fighting. Without any. Wait, what's the other one? God of Rock. I've never heard of. Best fighting is Street Fighter 6 for sure, hands down. Let's move forward. Best family. I will between. Let me see. It's hard to argue. You know what? Party Animal. Party Animal. I will probably say I say Party Animal is the best family game because of any age you can do this game, and I've seen more clips of hilarious shenanigans than others would argue with. Best sim strategy. We have Emblem Engage, Company of Heroes. Best sim. I will say Advance Wars. Advance Wars. And I will admit that Advance Wars is a remaster and repackaging of an older game, of a Game Boy Advance game. The graphics are uplifted to be 2.5D 3D like characters. It's so good, and it's still a better strategy game than Fire Emblem Engage. Engage hasn't been well received, but makes enough sales because of brand recognition. I will. You know what? For hold on, best racing, right? I'll probably say Hot Wheels. This game is the best because it's the most recognizable amongst everything. Forza F1 uh, football, everything is like already done. But Hot Wheels, man, Hot Wheels, no contest. Um, Best multiplayer. It's really funny because there was in recent reviews, um, Super Mario Wonder has an issue with multiplayer because even though it's you can have your character jump over the solution and like highlight what another character can do, but without chat functions, it's hard to communicate that. But I'll probably say uh, Street Fighter. Street Fighter 6 has the best multiplayer aspects because you have three types of controllers, anyone can play, and I think you can go online. I'm pretty sure you can play online uh, with any type of controller. So even if you don't play the traditional button controls, you are more than welcome to be a part of the community in any type of control layout for that one. Uh, Best adaptation. And the question, let's see, best at recognizing outstanding creative works that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another media. Gran Turismo is just people racing. Twisted Metal. I never played the game. I haven't watched it yet. I've heard more news about it. This is just a bag of nostalgia and bag of Easter eggs, and people like it. Castlevania Nocturne, I've watched it, but in terms of proper adaptation, I can't say for certain. So, Last of Us is a good show, but the remastering of a game that's not that old, remastering Last of Us 2 is uncalled for. It's not required. Nobody wants it, and they're just trying to milk the IP because of the season 2 of The Last of Us coming out. Most anticipated game, of course, without question, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Man, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the number one anticipated game for me. I made videos about it. I have questions about the timelines and the fact that the reunion is probably a union of two timelines into one. The reunion between Cloud Sephiroth and Zack for a proper fight that is been sorely overdue since Nibelheim. That is no questions, dude. Content creator of the year. For streamer or content creator who has made impact, I don't know everybody, but Iron Mouse. Iron Mouse is queen. No debates. Best esports. Oh, who has the best esports? League is the most toxic. Valorant is the current hero shooter game. But you know what? Let's put Dota 2. I hear League more. Out of spite, I have not played Dota 2, but I do know it's the predecessor of Smite and League of Legends, in my opinion. So fight me, I don't care. I don't know any of these guys. I don't know esport athletes. I can't help you there. I don't know teams. I'm sorry, I don't know teams. I don't know coaches. Like what's going on here? Best esport event. I'm not into the sports. Okay. So that is it. And here is my list for 2023. Sorry for the coughing. We have Game of the Year as Mario Wonder. Best Direction is Baldur's Gate 3. Best Narrative is Spider-Man 2. Best Art Direction is Lies of P. Best Score and Music is Final Fantasy 16. Best Art Design is Spider-Man 2. Best Performances is Neil Newborn. Innovative in Accessibility, Street Fighter 6. Games for Impact is GVH. Goodbye something high. Volcano High. Goodbye Volcano High. Best Ongoing is Final Fantasy 14. Best Community Support is Baldur's Gate 3. Best Indie Game, Sea of Stars. Best Debut is Dredge. Best Mobile Games, Final Fantasy 7, Ever Crisis. Best VR is Resident Evil Village. Best Action Game is Armored Core 6. Best Action Adventure is Spider-Man 2. Best RPG, Lies of P. Best Fighting Game, Street Fighter 6. Best Family is Party Animals. Best Sim Strat is Advanced Wars. Best Racing is Hot Wheels. Best Multiplayer is Street Fighter 6. Best Adaptation is The Last of Us. Most Anticipated is Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Best Content Creator is Iron Mouse. And Best Esport is Dota 2. Those are my current nominees for 2023. We will revisit this, I think, next after the awards is over on December 7th. After December 7th, we will revisit these entries and see what happens. Let me know let me know the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And that's the video.